Alright, we are going to welcome you guys into our last quarterfinal for the KDL Season 5. I'm Stu, I'm joined by Hoot today, who has joined the likes of Krim in being able to cast and play at the same time, due to this being a rebroadcast, but we'll have to see if any kind of cast occurs can prevent anything that happened. I'm still not sure if either team won, so we'll have to see how it goes inside of the games. But a little bit interesting deviation we have here today. Usually when we do these rebroadcasts, we don't have to draft, but we have meticulously put together the pick order and the ban order from both of these teams. So that way we will be able to simulate the draft. So, who please carry me as I go through this draft, and we'll go ahead and get this started.
All right, I guess we'll see. So obviously on the first side of Jujutsu Tech, I'm gonna come out with the. Stu, do you know these bands by the way? You know
I
what
do
they
know
are.
these bands.
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Alright, as we are just going to go ahead and get these bands going. So the first band that we have is ABD is on blue side. I know that is wrong. ABD is on red side and JJT is on blue side. And the first band that JJT would do is Nautilus. Unfortunately, for some reason it didn't lock in time. That's unfortunate, but it will be that Nautilus band. And then ABD will go ahead and respond with a Nocturne band.
Yeah,
And
obviously Nautilus being a strong pick on the side of Kawaii Star. Looks like JJT wanted to kind of get that off the board. And on the kind of reverse, obviously the jungler for Jujutsu Tech, Daniel, tends to play Nocturne a lot, and they want to just get him off his comfort pick, and hopefully, I guess in their mind, get Poseidon to abuse him. We can see the Tom Kench hover coming in. Maybe maybe they decide to ban this. Yeah, it will be the Tom Kench ban. Very strong pick. I'm not sure if Rave plays this champion though, but another strong pick at the top lane that they can get rid of, and could even be flex support.
yeah, and then we'll go ahead and see the Vayne band locked in as well. Vayne being one of Jujutsu Tech's kind of main characters, and that one game where their ADC was able to pop off, he was able to pop off on top of that Vayne, so they're going to steal that away from him.
Interesting to see what a Jujutsu Tech ban last here. It is the Viego coming in, a very, very strong champion, and obviously Poseidon being the highest ranked member on the side of uh, always bot diff. They want to get that out of the way. And then on the reverse, we see the Xin Zhao coming in. Looks like, some two strong junglers in Nocturne and Xin Zhao taken off the board. We'll have to see if Jujutsu Tech respond with a jungle pick, which they often seem to do in that first slot.
Yep, and it will be the Diana that they go ahead and lock in with that blue one. It will be a little bit interesting. This could be flexed in two separate roles as we've seen a lot. In the mid and the jungle, we'll have to see if the mid laner for Jujutsu Tech is able to pull off that feat. But it looks like ABD will go ahead and respond with two quick picks, and it will be the Ashe and then the Volibear. And both of these picks already have a pretty strong denomination. Ashe and Volibear already have a lot of synergy together. Ashe can slow down so that Volibear can get on target, and as well provides a lot of CC and utility added to the team. And it looks like that Jujutsu Tech will go ahead and answer with their own little response here, as they will be going ahead and picking up the Ezreal, a super common champion in the KDL that we've seen pretty much in, I believe, all the games. If he hasn't been picked, then he has been banned. I believe he is somewhere near that 100% pick ban rate. He is sitting around a 70% pick rate, so that should give you some incentive onto what kind of champion that he is inside of the KDL. And then we'll see the Lulu locked in for the support of Jujutsu Tech. A little bit unfortunate stuck on Lulu duty, but we'll have to see. I mean, it could potentially be a Lulu mid, I suppose, but it is pretty common to see that Lulu in the support role, and it looks like the last pick here will be for ABD, and they will go ahead and pick up the Leona.
Yeah, another thing with this Volibear being a good pick in the first rotation is that you don't know if it goes jungle or top. Rave has played Volibear top before. He's played definitely. I've seen him play, and he could also be flexed in the jungle. But same thing on the side of Jujutsu Tech, we have a mid and potentially support flex. Going to be interesting to see how they ban around this now.
Yep, and it will be the Southwest band taken away from Jujutsu Tech by ABD. Not looking like they want to give over the strong ultimates already present in Leona, Ashe, and Volibear, so they're going to make sure that Jujutsu Tech are not going to be able to steal that one away, as they will go ahead and answer with a Zed band, looking to potentially protect their mid laner. It could be this Lulu, could still be hidden. We're not sure exactly yet. It looks like the last band for ABD will be the set, taking away at the champ pool of their top laner, trying to make sure that nothing sneaky is going to happen away there. And then the last ban for JJT Tech will be the Zac.
Yeah, interesting ban in the Zac. I guess Zac could, I guess, still somehow go top. Rave does play Zac. So I'm guessing they're thinking here this Volibear is in the top lane, so they just want to get out another jungle ban. Now we'll see what they end up picking here. They have a potentially jungle top, and then mid left here to pick. So they have a little bit of flexibility in what they decide to do.
And it looks like it will go ahead and be that Kled. Rave has had some good performances on the past. His build has been a little bit memed by the members of the KDL, opting to go for the Sunfire on top of this Kled, but it did show a good performance inside of that game, so we'll have to see how it does in this game, or if he even opts to go for that build again. As now we have blue 4 and blue 5 for JJT, and it looks like they're going to respond with a Thresh pickup, which is going to be pretty nice for them. One of who's most comfortable champions is that Thresh, and it was left open, so it will be most likely that Lulu mid. It could be the Lulu top, but we'll see with this last pick, and it is going to be Camille.
Okay, all around decent team comp here for the size of Jujutsu Tech. They have a lot of damage up, especially in the top lane. A comfort pick for their AD carry, a comfort pick for their support. Their mid laner is a sub, so we'll have to see how he performs on this Lulu pick. It's obviously a fairly safe, a fairly kind of team-oriented pick. They want to use a Lulu to keep the members of their team alive, give them stat boost, attack speed boost, stuff like that. And we see the Orianna being locked in on the side of always bot div. Now on their side, they have an incredibly strong team fight comp with the Ash engage, with the Volley engage, Leona engage, even Kled can go in, and then you have Oriana who can land, massive shockwaves here that can turn fights. So I'm liking both these teams. I'm, wondering, Stu, who do you think's gonna take this win based on the draft?
I mean, based on the draft, I do believe I would have to give it over to Always Bot Div. I feel like dive compositions are just very strong in the meta currently, and Always Bot Div have so many go buttons. They have the Kled art, they have the Volibear ultimate, the Ashe ultimate, the Leona ultimate. They have so many ways to force fight. And Jujutsu Tech don't really have ways to get away from fights. They have some peel in the forms of Thresh and Lulu, but if ABD really wants a fight to happen, then they can force it to happen, and that could be disastrous for Jujutsu Tech, as that name is just gonna kill me all night. As due to this being a rebroadcast as well, we have the replay files. We don't have to wait for the 3-minute spectator delay, so we're just gonna go ahead and hop straight in after the draft there. So that's a nice little perk that we have. As we are going to go ahead and get loaded in, we do see it is at Lulu mid with the Ezreal and the Thresh in the bot lane, as the players are going to go ahead and finish up their items.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if the side of always bot div, they tend to really like to invade. It looks like they are going to be 5-manning the bot lane. We see a ping coming down the side of Jujutsu Tech. Maybe they, and no one is in that tri-bush. Interesting decision to not send someone there to even toward it if they think there's an invade coming.
Yeah.
Always bot dev looking to walk in here through the bottom.
Okay.
Ezreal and Thresh will have to be careful.
Ezreal was spotted out early enough. There's no way that anything should happen here. He is even able to get, I believe, a mana flow stack. We'll have to see what that looks like inside a lane, but a nice little pickup for them. And that is going to dissuade ABD from having any further action inside of their jungle. And you can see on the opposite side of the map, you can see Camille over here in the red buff, looking like she is going to place a ward for her jungler. And then both junglers are going to go ahead and get started. And there's a lot of vision placed around this bot lane, potentially looking to protect Dilly and Kawhi and make sure they're going to be able to harass this bot lane as much as they want to.
Yeah, maybe they believe that Diana will be starting top side and will be ganking early on the bot side. That could definitely be an option, but it looks like Diana will be starting on the red buff. And we'll be working towards that top side. Obviously, we have a decent amount of vision on both sides, so shouldn't be kind of any misconception about where each team is going and where each team is starting at the start of the game.
Yeah, and it is definitely going to be very easy for both of these junglers to kind of track each other. Both of them have wards on their side of the jungle, so they should be able to spot them out and know where they are going to be. So that should help the laners as well. Having a good idea of where the enemy jungler is will always help you lane. We'll have to see, especially this Lulu pickup in the mid lane, facing up against this Orianna. Orianna should have the ability to kind of push her out, and it might go a little bit even in the early levels, but as it goes further on and on, we'll see the Orianna take priority. But in these team fights, Lulu will be so big with the shields, with the polymorphs. We'll have to make sure we're watching those in order to see if they're going to be able to pull anything off. As you can see, the level 2 fight is about to break out here. as they are going to kill up that ranged minion. And you see some nice trading happening in the mid and top lane, but nothing too crazy happening just yet.
Yeah, decent chunk taken away from Kled there in that last trade. Both bot laners hit level 2 around the same time. Kled already getting pushed in quite quickly, getting poked out here by the Camille W. But the Volibear is heading top. We'll see if the Camille decides to respect that here in about 15-20 seconds time.
Yeah, and importantly enough, I do believe that the ward died on that red buff, so they should know that he is on there at least around this time, if not exactly at this time. So Camille should have a little heads up of what's going to happen and coming her way, but importantly enough, Diana is also finishing up on the top side, so both these junglers will be looking to contest the crab and the top river, but importantly enough, Volibear here is looking like he wants to go for a potential gank on top of this Camille, as he is going to
Yeah,
go
and
ahead
there
and
was
walk
no
forward.
ward there in the top lane.
Yeah, and he's just going to go ahead and walk forward and direct his camera. Please, man, I beg you, just one time. He's going to cast the storm and just kind of walk away. And now we see, because of that, Diana is able to hop on top of that top lane scuttle, or excuse me, the top river scuttle, and it should be able to just walk through mid lane, potentially make a gank happen, and go for a double scuttle potentially.
Yeah, this should be a fairly easy double scuttle. The volley is nowhere close. They are going to be making a gank here. Tokra is a bit further away to kind of make anything happen. Diana should just kind of walk bot, but the volley looks like he wants to contest it now that the Diana was chunked to half HP.
Yeah, and importantly enough, Diana has no priority on the bot side, so she should essentially just give this up. And it looks like she is going to do so, just recalling inside of that bush. You know, smartly realizing that the enemy bot lane has priority, you're not going to be able to get that, and as well the enemy mid laner has priority. So a nice little play there. Potentially could have gotten a lot more, but unfortunately was not able to. As we can see in the top lane, things are just, you know, going the way of Qued. He lost his mount, unfortunately, and he will go ahead and sit around 50% on that courage mark. As Volibear is here, I'm not sure if he was spotted. It looks like he may have been. He's making a really extended play on top of the map that is going to cost him a little bit in his jungle pathing. We'll have to see if Diana is going to be able to punish that.
Yeah, it looks like he walked a bit far forward there into, or a bit kind of beneath where he should have and got spotted out. Obviously in the top side, the Camille took a lot of damage from the Kled, but she has healed it up a considerable amount. So we'll see if the volley decides to kind of head topside once again. There are kind of there's not a lot of vision around. The Camille didn't have vision before. As we see, Kawaii start going in on Lost Hero,
Yeah, and
getting
the hook
chunked on
comes
quite low.
out. The death sentence does connect, but nothing following up. And unfortunately enough, that is probably going to push the Thresh out of the lane. He does have the potion and the biscuits available to potentially try and stay in lane. But importantly enough, you know, the Ezreal here has pulled slightly ahead of Dilly, making sure that he has a slight CS advantage, which is, you know, always nice when you're getting pushed in. Usually the enemy laner is going to be able to have a lot more on you because he's pressuring you down, but keeping up in CS and even being ahead is a nice little position for him to be in. As you can see, a similar situation in the mid lane. The always bot div mid laner is able to get a nice little CS lead over the Lulu. Nothing too massive just yet, but speaking of a massive CS discrepancy, we do have that little 15 CS discrepancy in the top lane. It will mostly get evened out a little bit around towards the 10 mark as Rave looks to pick up the CS under the tower. But Camilla is going to be able to have a nice back.
Yeah, it looks like the Thresh just did elect to stay. Obviously, you know, if they were following the jungle pathing, they would know Volibear was heading topside. There isn't too much to be afraid of there. They do lose Prio in the lane, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yep, as we can see, just the nice little trades coming out. Diana coming here once again for the mid lane. There's the flash polymorph. But Orianna has the flash. There should be no way that she dies here, and it looks like she is going to realize that. Oh my god, okay, that was a little bit of a questionable flash, but I guess he was a little bit scared, as Liana will go forward, will stun up on top of Who, and Who will get, oh, he's the death sentence lands, he's gonna pull him into the turret. Ezreal, can you clean it up as they're looking to do it? The flash comes out from the Camille, nice little pickup, and the double TP is gonna mean that it is a nice little 2-for-1 for JJT Tech pulling ahead here in the early game.
Yeah, nice calm play there, calling the TP as soon as the hook landed, and obviously
Oh
Rave's TP didn't
no.
mean anything. Oh no.
As, okay, the Rave's ultimate will go wide, unfortunately enough, can be a little bit hard to control. As Camille wants this fight, it looks like she is going to use the Hextech ultimatum, is going to go ahead and walk out of it and let Rave go. That could have potentially been a further fight. As, like you were saying, a nice little play, 2 kills for Jujutsu Tech is going to be the lead that they want inside of this game.
Yeah, it was definitely the play they wanted. The Kled TP'd and didn't get anything out of it and just ends up wasting his ult as well. So a nice kind of trade going for the Wave Jiu-Jitsu Tech, which is kind of rare to see from them against, you know, better teams, but that's definitely kind of how they want to start this game off.
Yeah, and it's definitely not an insurmountable lead for Always Bot to come back from. It's just a nice little pickup for them, so the game still has that door open for them. Importantly enough, we are sitting around the 7-minute mark now, and the dragon has not been taken, so both of these junglers looking to extend the game a little bit. As Thresh is doing his best to catch that CS while Ezreal is not there. And Tokra doing his best in the mid lane to really try and harass this Orianna, but it looks like he's not doing too much, just the trades going back and forth. But with this Lulu, you pretty much just want to stay safe inside of this lane and then look for these team fights and help out your team in that direction. Importantly enough, I think we need to talk about that ABD is on the dragon here, and they're just going to go ahead and take that away. Speaking of a slow dragon, and they just immediately hop on it. And it's going to
Yeah, it
be a
was a
nice little
smart dragon
pickup.
play for sure. Yeah, obviously the bot, like we mentioned, Prio in the bot lane, Prio in mid. That's the one kind of bad thing about this JJT Tech team. They, unless the jungler is coming down to make a play, they are getting pushed in the mid and bot. Obviously, topside is pushing in for their favor, but they haven't even kind of moved towards to take the Rift Herald in return for the dragon. It's just sitting there that the jungler is deciding to, you know, clear his camps instead. So a free dragon there for always bot this.
Yeah, and importantly enough, Diana does have the ability to look for the cross map play. It is very extended at this point to where it's a little bit questionable if she should go for it, but she should have potentially hopped on the Rift Herald or look to dive this Kled. Kled, although he is a little bit slippery and he can be hard to kill, he does only have the ninja tabbies, or the plated steel caps, excuse me. And Diana deals a lot of magic damage, and unfortunately for Rave, those plated steel caps do not block that magic damage. It looks like instead she's going to look to potentially go in the mid lane. She will get spotted on top of a ward. Rave is here. He's going to meet her inside of the bush. As he is going to just continue to go forward. Volibear is coming. Orianna is coming. The Diana ultimate comes out, but she's going to go ahead and flash out, spotting the rest of the members of Always Bot Div. And that should mean a nice little Rift Herald for ABD.
Yeah, usual fight. Obviously, the Camille, maybe a miscommunication. Camille wasn't moving down. She's also not respecting the fact that they just saw them in the top river. I wonder if she'll get away if the directed camera decides to move that way.
Yep, she will go ahead and get stunned up by the Volibear. Not enough damage coming out just yet. The second key will go ahead and put Rave off of his mount, but Tokara is going forward. She tries to speed up. Did end up using the ultimate and the shield on top of Camille, but it is not enough as Orianna TP'd as well. And it's a nice little 2 for 0 in favor of ABD.
Yeah, really strange play there. Obviously, we saw them in the top river. There was you don't even need a ward. They're there. You just have to back off at that point. But maybe a little bit of disrespect, thinking that Camille could have just eat out. But obviously that wasn't the case there. And just like we saw in the bot lane, another TP that came in a little bit really far from the fight, a little bit late, wasn't able to do much.
Yeah, and importantly enough, Dana should be looking to make something happen on this bot side. Jungler was top side, and even then he is on top of the Rift Herald just now. Should be looking to potentially take the Scuttle Crab, look to invade, get something in return, and try and take something away from the enemy jungler, but there's just no punishment coming out from this Diana, and Volibear is just free to do as he wishes.
Yeah, and even the flash in the mid lane, it wasn't really abused. We saw the Orianna flash quite early on, like 5 minutes ago before the dragon fight. And there hasn't been any kind of return gank in the mid lane. So we'll see if the jungler of JJT Tech decides to make a play here in a little bit. That bot lane is pushing now, so I doubt we'll see anything there. But they could just kind of push into Poseidon's jungle, get some vision control here, setting up for the next dragon in a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like just who we were talking about, Diana goes up here on top of the Scuttle Crab, and because she waited so long, Poseidon was able to get the Rift Herald, get the Scuttle Crab, and now he's going to potentially get Diana. As the Lantern comes out, she is going to get stunned up. She will just get CC locked and immediately taken away as all 5 members of Always Bot Diff are down, but JJT Tech's bot lane wants in, and who is just going to get taken out. Unfortunate play again for JJT as they're going to lose another fight 2-0.
Yeah, another play where they seem to be caught out for no reason. The lantern came out, but there was too much CC there to take it, and obviously the Thresh is waiting, in position for the Diana to get the lantern. He also pays with his life, so another big take, and we'll see them take probably 2-3 plates down here with once Voli comes and drops the Rift Herald.
Yeah, we could potentially even see the whole tower if they're able to stick around here long enough, but with Diana coming into the bot quadrant of the jungle, that would be likely to not happen, as Lulu is going to go for a nice little trade. The shockwave does come out from the Orianna. The Lulu uses the overgrowth, and it looks like she could potentially die. No, is going to go ahead and flash away, and Orianna flashes forward. Oh no, a misstep from Penelope is going to mean that he gets taken out. Oh, importantly enough as well, have you noticed that Penelope's building Riftmaker?
Yeah, I definitely did notice this while playing this game. Penelope is opting to go for the Riftmaker. A little bit of a misplay there from him, flying too close to the sun. There's, now we see a lot of dragon control coming out here for the side of JJT, exactly what they need to be doing. Setting up here in a little bit for the dragon to spawn, but we'll obviously see the side of always Botif come and push and take it because we know how much Kawhi loves his vision score. So I'm sure he'll be keen to clear all these wards up in a second.
Questar has been known as a lover of vision. You know, some people would say that he's an aficionado, but he's going to go ahead and hop on top of this Ezreal. Nice little combo. Ezreal holding his flash, holding his arcane shift for so long. It's going to mean that he has to use both, as Volibear is here in the bot lane as well. This could potentially be a dive, as Ashe still does have the enchanted crystal arrow. Volibear still has his ultimate as well. We'll have to see if they're going to look to go forward, as Diana is coming to match. They're going to land the death sentence and the play onto Leona. But because it is Leona, it's not going to mean all too much. And meanwhile, on the top lane, we have typical top lane things as they're just farming, but it looks like we want to potentially force a fight, but Volibear is just on top of the dragon, and Jujutsu Tech are just unaware, as now they're going to make it aware, and they're in a very awkward position as directed camera, please man, I beg you once, as Clyde is going to go ahead and TP in, and we're going to see if Leona wants to go in. Okay, the death sentence will land, the enchanted crystal arrow will land, Diana ultimate catches two huge chunks coming out from JJT. They want to go in on top. Orianna Shockwave lands on top of two, but Dilly is here versus three in the bot side. As in the top side, Camille is going to get stunned up, but she has a pocket Lulu saving her just for the moment as she is going to get stunned up. And Dilly will get taken out as well in the bot side, Cled being the sole surviving member. As it looks like Ezreal and Diana here are not exactly sure what to do with this Cled. They're going to get on top of him and kill him. Camille maybe going a little bit too far, could potentially get taken out. It looks like Orianna will decide against it, and there's a nice little pickup for Jujutsu Tech. Unfortunately not getting the dragon, but did make away with 4 kills.
Yeah, a little bit of a clumpiest. Also sucks that the tower plating, just fell. Not going to be able to get too much gold here in the bot lane. That was overall a very confusing fight. It was a pretty split all over the map, and at the end, the Kled was the last one alive, and they wanted to make sure that they had their cooldowns up to kill him. But overall, very pretty surprisingly fight that went Jujutsu Tech's way. I guess the Volibear ended up too split up from the fight, and they were able to capitalize on that. So we'll see if they can continue to do it. The Camille is 3-1-1 and up a considerable amount of CS, and the Ezreal does have his Divine Sunderer now too. So these are definitely kind of the power spikes for these champions, and strong areas where they can kind of look to make plays.
Yeah, and it honestly feels so horrible playing in ADC and you have to worry about the enemy Ezreal having his Sunder already when you don't even have your mythic. It just feels absolutely terrible to trade against. As Camille getting a nice little trade on top of Rave. That did an insane amount of damage. It must be nice having a Cho'Gath R as a basic ability. We'll have to see if she's going to be able to abuse Rave further, but Poseidon is here in the top side jungle, as is Diana. And they could potentially look to 2v2 in the top lane, as bot lane is just more than content to just freeze the wave, make ABD walk up, and they could potentially look for something else, as Lulu is looking like she wanted to walk up the top river as well, but decides against it. And we see Rave recalling.
Yeah, we'll see what they decide to probably if they want to swap their mid and their bot lane here in a little bit. We've seen a little bit of a stalemate from the side of Jujutsu Tech, haven't really been proactive to make a play. The bot lane has been quite boring for pretty much the entire laning phase. We haven't seen any maybe one skirmish. So they're both kind of content with just leaving the lane and playing for their team.
Yeah, and importantly enough, both of these supports are kind of stuck here in the bot lane as well, as the Death Sentence will go wide, the Cloud Ultimate will go forward. Still have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, watch out for it, as, okay, it's going to come out, the Lilo Ultimate lands on top of Ezreal. Ezreal is going to get stunned up, Diana goes for a 3-man ultimate, Dewey will flash out, but this is almost surely going to mean Diana's death, as they could look to dive this, and it looks like they will go for it. Rave is going to call it forward. Nice little double kill for Rave, but in the top lane, Camille is trading on top of this Volibear, and Volibear just healing so much is going to outdamage the Camille, and the ultimate is going to take her out, and that is a 4-for-0 in favor of ABD this time.
Yeah, a complete disaster for Jujutsu Tech. They decide to keep going in after maybe the fight was over. We saw I believe it was the Camille's TP was canceled by Volibear up in the top lane. And a very smart kind of roam from Rave to run down there and, pop his ult, knowing that they can kind of hard engage with the Leona. And the Thresh was picked up, but after that, Jujutsu Tech was potentially able to get out, but they decided they wanted to TP and try to turn the fight, and very smart play from Poseidon canceling the TP, and it was a massive kind of gold swing, as we saw there, at 2,500 gold swing just off that fight.
Yeah, and importantly enough, it wasn't just the fight. Jujutsu Tech were able to get 4 kills around the dragon fight and weren't able to get the dragon. So they only ended up around 1k gold ahead, but ABD is able to get those kills, push out the waves, get turrets, and that is going to mean that they get a huge gold buff inside of their wallets, and now they're going to look for the second Rift Herald as well. This will be the second one in ABD's favor, and it looks like JJT Tech are just content to just sort of give it away. And we'll have to see what they are looking to do with this Rift Herald once they are able to secure it.
Yeah, we can see the Thresh, being one of the best supports in the KDL, getting a nice ward here in the bot side jungle.
Leona's gonna flash forward, is gonna land the stun. Nice little 3-man Diana ultimate. It looks like Camille wants to go in, but the rest of her team is not so sure. As ABD are able to get off scot-free, only having to use Leona flash and her ultimate. And it's a nice little play for ABD, trying to keep JJT Tech on their toes, but unfortunately for them, they're not going to be able to get any kills off of it.
So a little
Why
bit
is that blocked? What? That is so weird. Oh man, the auto mod for Twitch is just honestly something else. As the blue buff will be traded over to Orianna, and it looks like Ezreal wanted to snipe it away, but was not able to. Poseidon, realizing he's on a ward, is going to go ahead and pink ward that. Now we're going to see the 5v5, and now we get to see the strength of ABD's composition, where they get to choose the fights, they get to choose where they want to fight. JJT Tech don't really have any way of stopping them from going in. We'll have to see if the counter engage is going to be as strong.
JJT Tech a little split here, just kind of like how ABD were in that previous fight. We have a couple members in the top side, a couple members in the bot. They could just kind of split them up and kill them. If ABD decide to just push one of these sides.
And
it looks like they're going to be going pot.
Is going to go for it. It is going to catch up to Ezreal, but he is going to go ahead and get out as the ultimate, and the Enchanted Crystal is going to land on so many. The Thresh play lands on so many as the members of JJT Tech are just falling down and down. Oh my god, it is just a tragedy as Ezreal's going to flash. Oh no, it looked like he flashed a super short distance, and that is going to be a nice little 4-for-0 in favor of ABD. And that's going to be their third pickup of the game, or their third dragon pickup of the game, excuse me. That's going to be soul point for the dragon, or excuse me, Baron spawning in 45 seconds. And we'll have to see if the next fight is going to be around that.
What a huge fight. They're getting put on soul point, obviously, is a massive thing. They can decide to give up the dragon and take the Baron. They're going to be pushing down mid here, probably take... Oh, they also had the Rift Herald. I totally forgot about that. They should be able to take this tower and the next one.
Yeah.
Just like I was saying, it was a confused. They were really split from the fight. The Thresh and the Ezreal were at the bottom. The Thresh was able to get a nice play off, but the Ezreal was kind of not in any position to do any damage in that fight. And ABD exploited that fact and ended up fighting the 5v3 and coming out there with the win.
Yeah, and like we said, with ABD's composition, they can choose the fights, they can choose where they want to fight. And when you're split like that, ABD will just always choose the easier fight for them, and they choose to go for the 3 members in the top side and just absolutely eliminate them. And it's just such a tragedy for JJT, as now they're sitting 5k gold behind at the 20-minute mark. Baron is spawning soon, as the Thresh here is going a little aggressive for these wards. It is going to spot out the Volibear, and they are going to notice him. But they do have to be careful of this Baron threat, as if ABD are going to be able to secure that Baron, with the already strong engage that they already have with the Baron buff as well, they're going to be tankier, they're going to do more damage, and it's going to be harder for JJT Tech to even get away from it.
Yeah, one thing to point out, even though, the Kled is 4-1, but look at that massive CS difference. Where is Rave? He's he's not CSing the minions at the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, Rave is the one who does have that 400 gold bounty, so I think he's pretty content with the state of this currently.
That is true. We can see the Thresh getting caught out.
As Thresh is just going to get caught out, the CC layered on top of him, and he thinks, surely they're not going to go for me, and then they do, and now they can look to turn towards the Baron, as Rave does have TP, as does the Camille. But it looks like they're deciding if they want to get on it or not. It looks like they're going to decide to go ahead and do so, as the Hextech Ultimatum is going to come out from Camille. Is going to get nice little damage on top of Rave, but Rave is going to use his ultimate forward. Is now without his mount. Camille going forward does have the Q1, is going to E forward and gets the Q2 and gets a nice little Cho'Gath ultimate on top of Kled. That's a nice little pickup for JJT in the side lane. As in this Baron side, they were able to pull ABD off of the Baron and stop them from going forward, which is a nice little pickup on both sides of the map.
Yeah, big play there from the JJT bot laners to realize that they were at Baron and deciding to take the trade. We can see maybe the jungler of JJT looking probably dying here.
Oh my gosh, as he did a huge amount of damage to that Orianna. I did not expect that. I don't think neither did Orianna, as Lulu was able to pick up the kill. But importantly enough, that is the jungler dead for JJT, and they will have the top laner for ABD spawning just now, so we'll have to see if they might look to force the Baron play and just try to outsmite the enemy team.
Yeah, as we can see, they only have the one ward on the next to the Baron there right now. Aside from that, ABD has complete vision control up in the top side. They were lucky enough to stop that last Baron, but next time they started, I'm not sure if JJT are in a position right now to stop the Baron. They might just have to give it and play for this Dragon Soul. But even that might be tough. We can see them kind of rotating down to see if they can get a pick on the Camille, but Vision spots them out and she smartly backs out of there.
Yeah, and there's a nice little vision for ABD. You can see the entire jungle which is lit up in their favor, and they're going to be able to track JJT for the entirety of their movements. And I think that situation will just sort of teach ABD that when you have these three dragons and you're in full control of the game, you don't really have to force a Baron. I mean, you can if you want to, but then you're just kind of coin flipping the game in necessity. As Diana will go forward, use the ultimate, is going to get the flash out of Dilly, but it looks like she didn't want to continue going. Not sure where the rest of the members were. Thought maybe that Ashe had support, but Ashe was completely alone. And, that is the flash off of Dewey, which is an important thing for him to not have. And we do see the Mountain Dragon here is spawning in just under a minute, and we'll have to see what JJT Tech are going to look to do around that.
Yeah, as we can see, that's another kind of thing about being so far down in gold. You're afraid about where the enemy team is. You don't have vision control. And it's hard to go for picks when you don't have that information. So they don't decide to chase the Ashe. They get the flash, which is, definitely good on a mobile champion like Ashe, but she escapes with her life. Right now being a nice support bot with the ultimate in this game.
As it does tend to be what Ashe turns into, and Camille smartly realizing that all of ABD was coming towards her, does use the teleport to get away, but that is a teleport wasted, unfortunately. With the Mountain Dragon spawning in 30 seconds, she is going to go forward on top of this Leona. Leona is alone, but is not going to be for very long, as Camille just gets stacked with the CC. The damage comes out, she is forced to flash away as the TP comes out from Lulu. It looks like they want to potentially kill Kawhi, but he is just not dying as Thresh goes forward, places the Ignite. It's going to kill Kawhi, but what is it going to cost? And it looks like nothing just yet as a huge shockwave lands onto two. Orianna absolutely smurfing in this fight. He's going to pick up the Camille, and the Lulu Ray flashes over the wall. Going forward is looking like he wants this Ezreal. Ezreal flashes away, is able to survive for just now, but now in this bot lane, Diana is here versus two. Is she going to be able to do anything? She places her Q on top of Dilly. It's going to get big damage. It's going to absolutely delete him, but Kled and Orianna are coming, and Rave, or excuse me, not Rave, Poseidon doesn't even need their help, is going to be able to pick up Diana and is going to pick up this dragon.
Yeah, they won't get the Baron here, but they will be able to take this dragon. Very kind of another same thing as before. They managed to split JJT up. Their support and their AD carry were kind of in the top half of the bot side, and then the rest of the team on the bottom, and they just kind of ended up focusing one and killing them. It's kind of the same issue as before. Plus, at the start of that fight, they put a lot of resources into killing Kawaii Star. I know he's a good-looking guy, but you don't really have to chase the support that much. It doesn't really make too much sense. So we see ABD once again capitalizing. They have a sizable gold lead now, and the CS is a little bit more on the side of JJT. But when you have all these kills, all these items, all these gold, that doesn't mean too much.
Yeah, and it is just a little bit of a tragedy for JJT. Is the one silver lining for them is that the gold lead hasn't really changed. It is still sitting around that 4K mark. So nothing too much has changed in that regard, but with ABD having the mountain so now your burst gets a lot harder. It's going to be a lot more difficult for you to potentially look to catch out a member. And with the Elder Dragon spawning in 5 minutes, this pretty much puts a timer on the game where ABD can just sort of choke JJT out.
It's Thresh.
Oh,
he's going to
no.
have to be careful. What are you doing?
He was not careful. He's going to get stunned up, pops the locket to just try and do something, but it's going to get taken out. And with Camille in the bot lane, they almost surely are going to hop on top of this Baron. And they will go ahead and do so. Just a tragedy.
Could be a free Baron. Obviously trying to get the vision they desperately needed and ending up getting caught out. We can see, the Camille trying to do what she did before to try to maybe pick the Kled and stop ABD on this Baron.
Oh, as JJT here looked like they wanted to get ABD off of the Baron, but it's not going to go their way as Diana is taken out. The flash comes out from Kawhi. He is going to pick up the Lulu. And it looks like they wanted more, but excuse me, this Camille versus Rave here in the bot lane. Does she have Q2? She does. He's almost dead. He is going to get taken out by the E, but that is a Baron for the wave ABD. I think you take that trade any day.
Yeah, Rave for the Baron is, definitely worth on the side of ABD. And that's a massive pickup. This kind of should snowball to the end of the game here. It looks like they don't even want to reset. They just want to take this and take the tower and push mid. I don't think they'll be able to end here, but once they reset, get their items, and then push again, I think that kind of should be the game. But we'll see if JJT can kind of slow this game down. The Elder Dragon is spawning soon, and that is their last chance. If they can steal that or potentially try to turn a fight. But with this gold lead, it's looking very hard because we can see the
Yep.
hook coming on onto the holy bear.
Okay, the Yoda ultimate comes out. Diana just gets stunned up. Is going to get absolutely deleted, but uses the stopwatch to go away. But Camille in the background is doing her best to kill Dilly, but doesn't have enough damage just yet. As JJT are looking like they're on their last legs, but ABD here is just throwing their wallet at them. The flash comes out from the water bear. It's going to go wide, but the enchanted crystal arrow is going to land on top of Ezreal. And with just Diana and Lulu left, I don't think JJT will be able to hold this. We'll have to see if ABD are going to be able to end. They do not have the volley bear ultimate, but they do have 5 members and a wallet, and it looks like Diana will go down. The shockwave comes out, and it will be Lulu going down next, and that is going to be JJT going down 1 game, and ABD going up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, I spoke a little too soon. The JJT decided to take a do or die fight instead of waiting for the Elder Dragon, and it doesn't go their way. And ABD take. There was at the start of the game we had a little bit of skirmishes, but aside from that, they had control throughout the mid and late game there. It's a good win for them.
Yeah, there was a lot of skirmishes in this game that did end up going the back and forth route, and it was a little bit tragic for JJT as they did have a lot of fights that went their way. But ABD, just having the experience with the roster being together for so long, were able to pull it back and able to get a sizable gold lead and keep it until that Barrett play, and were just able to recognize when they were able to end, and from that point they were just able to do so. And we'll have to see what the next game is going to go ahead and look like, as we will be going ahead and taking a quick little break for the casters, and we'll see you guys in 5 minutes. All right, we are going to go ahead and welcome you guys back. ABD taking up that first win versus JJT in this series. It is a best of three, so they still do have the ability to come back if they're going to be able to play in a fashion that will allow them to do so. And we'll have to see if they're going to be able to do so. We're going to go ahead and start up the draft for this second game here. And it looks like that Jujutsu Tech chose the red side, and Always Bot will be starting on the blue side this time, so we'll have to see if anything will shake up from the bans, as we'll see the first ban for ABD does come out to be that Nocturne. And we will be going ahead and seeing what exactly is going to come from the side of JJT. They had a lot of problems in that game, but I think most of it was in that macro direction. They didn't really have any problems with the certain champions. I think the person who had a problem with the most champions was Rave against that Camille. Really had a hard time against it and was sort of the saving grace of JJT. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to kind of recreate that success, as they're going to go ahead and ban away the Nautilus and the... And it looks like ABD will go ahead and respond with just a quick Vayne ban. Again, keeping their bans pretty much the same from the last side, even though they did change sides. It looks like nothing too much has changed, and JJT will once again continue with that Viego, taking that away from Poseidon, making sure that he's not going to be able to carry it on top of that. And we'll see what ABD looks to pick up, and it looks like it will be Rave locking in the Camille ban. Is going to make sure that Camille doesn't happen again. We're not going to have that same problem in this second game. And we'll have to see what the last ban for JGT is. They're on this red side, so they do have the privilege of having this last ban. It looks like it will be the Tom. They're going to go ahead and pick it away from Rave, make sure he's not going to be able to abuse that. And with a B1 in the favor of Always Botif, we'll have to see what they look for. It looks like it will be the Xin Zhao. A nice little pickup for them.
Obviously, with the Camille ban coming in, they decided not to ban the Xin Zhao, knowing they could first pick it if Jujutsu Tech didn't ban it, and Jujutsu Tech looks like they would have rather banned the Tom Kench. And they let Always Bot they take the Xin Zhao, really strong pick. We'll see what they respond with now after letting Xin Zhao go.
Yeah, and it looks like it will be the Olaf. This is a little bit of a counter for Xin Zhao. I've heard some, questions about which one is better in certain compositions, but I think Olaf just has a nice matchup in the Xin Zhao and will allow Daniel, the agency, to do a lot of what he wants inside of this game. So we'll have to see what exactly he's going to do. As the second pick for JJT, we'll think it will be the Samira. This is a nice little pickup for them. I think it really does hinge on that more aggressive style. We saw a lot of skirmishes going back and forth in that first game. And with a character like Samira, when you get those E resets and you're able to use that Deadly Flourish, it is so good for you. And we'll have to see if they're going to be able to make use of that in this game, as now with B2 and B3 open. And it looks like that Always Bot Diff will go ahead and just pick the Galio and the Ezreal, two comfort champions for their bot lane.
Yeah, really interesting draft coming from Jujutsu Tech. They're just kind of taking really different champions than they had normally played. I've never seen them play any of these before. Meanwhile, Albus Boddiv taking, comfort picks and kind of strong champions. The Lux being hovered. We'll see. Yeah, it is the Lux being locked in. Interesting team composition. We'll see what they decide to ban here. They have the potentially the support and the top lane being picked here. Obviously, once again, they've taken a flex pick that could go mid or support. It seems like something ABD likes to do to kind of confuse the enemy when they're drafting. Um, the Thresh band will come over for the side of Always Bot to take who off that champion.
Yeah,
And
just
on the
take
other
him
side,
off.
we saw the Leona.
Yeah, just take him off
Yeah.
a little bit of comfort, like you were saying. And it looks like that Jujutsu Tech will round out their last band with a Yone. Not exactly sure who this zone at. Maybe they just want a little bit less of team fighting power on the side of ABD, but ABD will use their last band, and it looks like it will be the set band once again. Looks like Rave just does not want to play against the champion, and now with the R4 available, and it looks like JJT will go ahead and pick Gragas. And, with this is a nice little pickup. It does give them the potential to potentially flex this Olaf, flex the Gragas. And it is definitely going to be something that they could potentially do inside of this draft, and we'll have to see what ABD look to respond with. It looks like, two champions were left open, and I think a lot of people are going to hate seeing this champion picked in, as we're going to see the Irelia locked in. My mic is static, oh dear god.
So this is quite interesting now. So we have a Lux support, and then Gragas in the top lane. Quite an interesting composition. We'll see what ABD decide to kind of pick against this. They've taken a lot of strong picks. Penelope has been playing this Irelia a little bit, and we see the Doctor Mundo being locked in. We'll see what JJT decide to take. Uh, you know, as our last pick here in the mid lane.
Yeah, there has been a lot of jokes about, some R5 Maokai's thrown around here, especially against ABD, and it looks like Jujutsu Tech are going to lock in R5 Ash as their last pick, and it looks like they will go ahead and do so. What a bit of an interesting
Okay.
pickup, as this is definitely interesting from Jujutsu Tech. We'll have to see what they're looking to do with this sort of composition, as, with this available, they do have the ability to have a lot of engage in the Lux, the Gragas, and the Ash, but they are a little bit squishy. They don't really have a strict front line unless Gragas decides to go for that tank mode, but ABD has a lot more well-defined, rounded composition. I think once again they've stolen the victory here on this draft.
Yeah, this seems to be quite a heavy draft div. With match support not really something that we see too often, in serious games. But we'll see if they're able to kind of poke this out. Obviously, the Leona is a hard engaged champion. So, or sorry, not the Leona. The Galio is a hard engaged champion. So they could get caught out quite easily, especially when you have no mobility. So we'll see what Jujutsu Tech can do against this team.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that Jujutsu Tech really have to worry about, as they are sitting around one game down in this series with only nowhere to go. If they lose this game, they end up losing the series. So it is going to be very tragic for them if they're not going to be able to win it out. As we are going to go ahead and get in game, just setting it up, making sure nothing too crazy is going to happen. As it looks like, before we go ahead and get started, is my mic fixed? I know there were some comments about it being glitched out. Is it
It
showing
is
now?
not.
It is
It is
not.
not. It is still staticky.
As I go ahead and try and fix this here, why don't you go ahead and talk about the team composition and what both of these teams want to do?
Yeah, obviously, so loading into this game, with the Gragas top lane, Ash support, you want to kind of have their bot lane play safe, poke, and try to look for a play once they hit 6. That's kind of their power spike there. On the flip side, this Galio is going to be a strong pick throughout the game with his taunt. Especially we probably actually see an invade here once again on the side of ABD. Meanwhile, they have you know the Mundo in the top lane, which is pretty good against some of these champions. If the Ashe ults the Mundo, he won't be able. He's going to be able to get away. They have a lot of skirmishing power in the mid lane and with their jungler inside of Xin Zhao Irelia. So overall, it's a kind of pretty diverse and strong team comp. On the side of Juicy Tech, meanwhile, they have a little bit of a strange composition. You have the Lux, the Olaf, which won't really be able to kind of synergize that much together. Meanwhile, you do have the Gragas once again, so it's a little bit split. There's going to be a decent amount of synergy with the Gragas and the Samira, potentially able to get Samira a nice 5-man ult, which he'll be looking for. But aside from that, their team is a bit split. We'll see what they end up doing.
Yeah, and it looks like I did my best to fix it. What am I sounding like now? Am I sounding
You're
okay?
sounding good so far. Sounding good so far.
All right. So hopefully that did end up fixing it, as we are going to go ahead and load into the game here. We'll go ahead and get that set up and switched over. As I with that away, we can now start the game. We did have a little bit of delay, but fortunately enough, it was not the spectator delay. Looks like the pings are coming out from ABD. They potentially want to look for, just maybe like a bush camp in the bot lane, look for an easy kill, potentially get the game snowballing in their favor. As with their composition, they're a lot more well-rounded. I definitely do think that they scale a lot better. If they are able to get the snowball started early, they're going to be able to take control of this game very easily.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! We have an Ashe top in this game. Actually, this is not an Ashe support. Um, the Ashe decides to take TP and is walking to the top lane. Um,
Oh no.
something that JJT's top laner has been known to pick in the past, and he decides to take the Ashe top. Um, that's been interesting, especially considering that, like I was saying in between the drafts, that the Mundo counters the Ashe ult. So this will be quite interesting. Obviously, Ashe can poke with the W, and Mundo doesn't have. Mundo is a melee champion, so does have that advantage. But it's quite an interesting play, picking an Ashe top in their do or die game in the KDL. Obviously, the
Yeah.
invade there didn't work for the side of ABD, so they will just kind of reset. We'll see standard starts here across the board.
Yeah, and you know who you've been a little bit of an aficionado for Ash Shop in the past, and I think even currently to this day, you kind of have been promoting this pick and are playing a lot inside of your games. And what do you think about the Ash Shop in this game? I gotta hear your thoughts about it.
A little bit confused about why who picked the Sash top in this game, to be honest. It doesn't really make sense. They have the Mundo, like I said, which counters that pick. Early skirmish, actually.
Oh my god, Lux is actually going to die. Just immediately thought she was safe. You know, Irelia is only level 1, but Irelia smartly stacking up her passive, gets the full stack passive, and just hops on top of the Lux and is just going to be able to execute her. Did have to blow the flash and the ignites, and Lux does have that advantage, but I think you take that for that early kill.
Oh yeah, for sure. The early gold going their way, and the CS loss there is just gonna be big. But yeah, as you were saying, this Ash top matchup, she does have a lot of poke power. She's actually doing quite well poking Rave out. She's gonna keep chasing.
Yeah, looks like she's going to continue to go forward. The Q does come out, is not able to get the kill on top of Rave, but a nice little chunk out means that she should be able to stop him from really landing too much as she gets the Hellblade procs, walks forward, does use the Q. Window soaks up a little bit of damage, is going to be forced to, potentially reset. Looks like he will opt to stay. Maybe his jungler is coming topside. And we'll have to see what comes out of that Ashe matchup in the top lane.
Yeah, early on, Ash, getting a lot of good trades in there. Going up CS. We'll see, what the Mundo can do. Obviously, the Xin Zhao is going to be pathing top in a little bit. There's a ward, but Ash should, definitely respect that, knowing that she has kind of no escape. The one danger of Ash top, you have nothing to kind of get out with, especially early on in the game. And with TP as well, she doesn't have too much kind of ability to fight, to skirmish.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be interesting as Olaf here went for an interesting path, cleared his entire bot side, did up to his red, and then is going to walk a bot side and go for this bot grab. Does not want to fight, if you want to take Ashe or Aurelia, I think you just decide to take neither and go for that bot side scuttle crab. And this is going to mean he's going to get spotted out on top of the sword, so they should know where he is. It looks like he will go ahead and reset. There's no, excuse me, as Galio is going to go forward, the hero's entrance is not leveled yet, and we're going to see if anything is going to go forward. Samira goes forward, gets a nice little W. The ignite traded out from both players, but Galio flashes away. The Helio from Dilly as well is going to mean that Galio survives, but it's going to be a nice little summoner spell advantage for JJT Tech's bot lane.
Yeah, a nice little play there. I'm able to kind of chunk Kwai down. A lot of HP. They'll be able to push them in here, maybe deny them a bit of CS. Meanwhile in the top lane, it looks like the Mundo has started to push the Ashe back a little bit. And meanwhile in the mid, the Lux is playing quite afraid of this Aurelia. Obviously, knowing that she did die level 1, she could, she could continue to die here, and Aurelia hasn't even reset yet. So we'll see what items she's able to buy. A lot of damage down onto the Samira.
Yeah, and who there, unfortunately getting hit up by the Cleaver is going to take all the minion damage as well. There's going to be a lot of poke going his way that he really doesn't want. You want the HP advantage for when the tank decides to turn around and try and run you down. Looks like he will pop the potion to try and compensate that, but Mundo having that passive healing with the D shield is going to mean that he's going to be able to heal a lot of this poke back up. It has been a rough laning phase so far, but it is sitting only 1 CS behind. Is a pretty good position for Rave.
Yeah, we can see that early kind of poke the Ashe had is kind of faded now, that they've all kind of leveled up a bit, and now Ashe is the one kind of getting bullied in this lane. Throws out the hawk shot to see where the Xin Zhao is. A good kind of jungle tracking tool. JJT has been a little bit weak in tracking where their jungler is, so maybe the Ashe can help in that regard there.
Yeah, and they did spot him out, and we did see, no pings coming out, but I'm sure there were some voice communications regarding that. As who here wants to go on top of this Mundo will dodge the Cleaver. Mundo is going to be able to walk into the bush and flash Cleaver from Mundo, and along with his E is going to be able to take out Ashe. As a nice little pickup there for Rave.
Yeah, Rave decides to, obviously knowing his power in that lane, decides to go in. A little bit of a skirmish in mid. Looks like the Lux will escape with her life.
Yeah, just barely, as I do believe Irelia still had that cube, but was not in the range to
EP
do it.
in the top lane.
Oh, as I don't think this is good for who, as Mundo is here, he's walking forward, he wants this fight, but surprise, Olaf here is going to flash forward. Rave with no flash, the kill is going to go over to Olaf. As a nice little pick there. It did cost Ashe her TP, but Mundo will be able to TP back, and there's a nice little kill for Olaf. It's going to be able to help him accelerate.
Oh my gosh, what a smart play from the Ashe, knowing that their jungler was there, turning around that fight. Rave, decides that maybe, he didn't know the jungler was there. decides to take the 1v1. It doesn't go his way. So nice little kind of gold going over to the side of Juju's Tech. Didn't go over to the Ashe though, but you know the Olaf having the kill is also not that bad.
Excuse me as I was coughing, but yeah, you know, and even then in the chat as well, we saw report my jungler is, excuse me, the enchanted crystal arrow is coming out from across the map. It's going into the bot lane. It's coming across the mini map. Is it gonna hit? Dewey's gonna be able to dodge with the arcane shift. You know, a nice little attempt. Dewey actually realized that pretty well. I think it maybe had appeared on vision, but a nice little pickup for him. And that's going to mean that, you know, Ashe has no ultimate now. You know, it is pretty useless against the Mundo, but it is still a little bit of extra damage in that fight. As the Aurelia ultimate is coming out, she's going to get snared up by the Lux. The full combo comes out. She is going to get taken out, and there's a nice little solo kill for the Lux. It's going to help equalize that gold there in the mid lane.
Yeah, quite surprising considering the lead that the Aurelia had earlier. The Lux, you know, only having the 2 books. So
The 2 books.
the 2 books. So a nice gold going over to her. Right there should even out the lane a little bit more. Meanwhile, Rave is bullying the Ashe in the top lane, and bot lane looks like it's kind of a stalemate, even in CS in both regards, and in summoner spells.
Yeah, we'll have to see what either jungler wants to do to impact this bot lane. As you know, on the side of JJT, this Olaf really needs to get one of his lanes ahead and start snowballing in order to carry this composition. Whereas, you know, ABD, they're a little bit more content to just kind of let top snowball, let mid snowball, and just kind of let that kind of equilibrium happen. And, you know, Xin Zhao could potentially impact the bot lane as Galio goes forward here. They get a nice little W from Samira. It's going to save her life for just now, but she is going to get ignited. They're going to look to kill Dewey. Dewey's going to flash away, but fail flashes over the wall. It is going to mean his death as Olaf is here, but so is Xin Zhao. Samira wants to potentially fight at the edge of this, and it looks like they're going to call this fight off 3v2. As Aurelia is missing, they're going to spot her coming down the river, and that is going to force the members of GGT off.
Yeah, another skirmish that the ABD initiated at the start there, but it didn't go their way. I don't think, you know, they're respecting the strength of this, you know, this bot lane. You know, Gragas may not be maybe an unorthodox support, but he definitely has a lot of damage, a lot of CC. So maybe they should start respecting that a bit more. See an invade coming in.
As Olaf will pop the Ragnarok, as at the same time in the mid lane we see a fight coming. I assume Olaf will live, but in this fight, Aurelia is just diving under tower. Is going to be able to get taken out by the Lux, but the Ignite from Post-Mortem is going to make sure that Lux goes down as well. As Rave pops the ultimate, and oh no, just a sad little ADC in the top lane is forced to flash away. And is not going to be able to touch that tower for the entire duration. That's going to be a nice little wave denied from Rave, and is going to further accelerate him in the top lane.
Yeah, all of the CS denied, and this is the second plate for Rave coming in. He's probably has a considerable gold lead at this point, and he still has yet to back since that last skirmish. Yeah, as we can see, 3,500 to 2,600.
Yeah,
So
nice little casual 1k gold lead at 9 minutes. I think that's definitely not where you want to be as Ashe. But this is definitely not something that, you know, means the game is over. That is the majority of the gold lead on the side of ABD, so we could see plays happen through the other lanes. And we'll have to see what is going to come through the side of GGT, as they really need to be more proactive and make something happen in this game, or they're just going to fall behind to the composition that ABD has.
yeah, and it's going to be hard not having a...
Ooh, as let me cut you off there, as Aurelia is going forward, Lux flashes backwards, casts the ultimate, but that is not going to mean her death. I thought that maybe the ultimate would take her out, but unfortunately it doesn't. As you can see, some mixed pieces coming together here from the Lux. It looks like she might go for the plated steel caps to help against that damage. But it is going to be very difficult as two members from JJT walked up to the mid lane in order to help that Lux out and protect the wave, as Galio here is looking like he wants to potentially make a roam as well. And Aurelia is going to be able to secure all of the CS, sitting 30 CS up, and 1 kill is going to be pretty good for her.
Yeah, misses the cannon, but is considerably, you know, up in CS here. We can see the side of Jesus Tech does not have a lot of map control. The Xin is taking the Rift Herald as we speak. So not much that Jutsu Tech can do. Right now, it does seem like the Aurelia and Lux are fighting on respawn. They respawn, they go to mid, they fight.
Yeah, very true.
So we'll see if that continues. Right now, there's a total amount of 5 kills. That's pretty much the entire game's kills right there in the mid lane. So
yeah, we'll have to see what the jungler from JJT Tech wants to do here. You know, like you said, Zizel was on the Rift Herald. Now they need to look for a cross-map play. They haven't called that Lux is missing. Now they see her on top of a ward. They will realize it. The bot lane of always bot diff will go ahead and back up. And that would mean that Rave and Poseidon here get to bully this Ashe. She is trying to take the Krugs, but it looks like Zinzao will be able to steal a few of them away. And that is the top tower gone, which is going to free Ashe out of her prison. She has a little bit of a safer farm distance, but we'll have to see what they look to do afterwards. As they could potentially look to dive this Ashe. Xin Zhao is still here. Mundo has the ultimate. Mundo will flash forward. He's going to hit the infected bone saw. As Xin Zhao will go forward now as well. The Ashe ultimate not doing too much, but will stun up no members. As Lux here is looking like she wants to go forward, but in the bot lane as well, we see a huge fight. Samira there almost dead. The ignite on the wrong target is going to mean that she could potentially survive. The flash comes out from both parties. The Gragas has flash, is going to take out Kawhi. Could look to potentially take out Dewey with some good poised barrels. We'll have to see what he looks to go for. As the heal is almost available from Samira, they could look to dive this, and Dewey should play maybe a little bit respectfully. As we'll have to see what happens to Dragon spawning in 20 seconds.
Yeah, fight across the board. The Lux got a nice kind of pick there. She managed to walk up smartly and take 2 kills in the top lane. So good play for her to get some gold back on her side. And meanwhile, in the bot lane, once again, we can see the side of JJT Tech is taking these skirmishes when they happen.
Yeah, and speaking of taking skirmishes, Olaf is here. He says, I want this fight. The Gallia ultimate comes through. He maybe ran out a little bit because he thought he didn't have the Ragnarok, but he did. The trades, or the kills getting traded, excuse me, but it will end up in favor of Always Botif. You know, having their bot lane there is going to be a huge advantage for them, as well as Rave being there, surprisingly enough. And that's going to be a nice little 1-for-2 in favor of ABD with the Ocean Dragon attached. This is their first dragon of the game, so it's not going to be too bad. And it looks like it will be that Infernal Soul. A little bit of a, you know, matching prowess coming out of Lux, picking the fire version of Elementalist Lux and getting the Infernal Soul. I think that might be a little bonus of like +1 AP. But we'll have to see what it's going to look like in this game for JJT Tech.
Yeah, right there we saw ABD pushing in, kind of taking vision control on the bot side. JJT Tech has some nice wards actually. We can see lined up kind of on the side.
Oh, as Gragas failed his body slam, that is going to mean that he is going to get caught up and taken out by the works of Poseidon and Kawhi. A nice little pickup for them. Doesn't mean too much just yet, but we'll have to see what it looks like, as Mundo will get his passive proc. Is not going to land on the quiver on top of the Lux, but it is a nice little pickup for ABD, further accelerating their gold lead. As speaking of that, Poseidon is here in the bot lane, does not have the Rift Herald, but it looks like they want the rest of these plates and potentially the Samira. As Olaf is here, it looks like he's content with just giving that away, as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is coming from across the map. It is going to go so wide. Unfortunate enough, I think that might be going to Narnia. We'll have to see where it lands, but, you know, a nice little play from the Ashe trying to make something happen, but Samira is just not allowed to farm against this. They're not really sure where Poseidon is, and it looks like Olaf is potentially looking to make a return play in the mid lane.
Yeah, and we can see in the top lane, the Ashes now swap, or the Irelia swap with the Mundo. And Irelia is just a horrible matchup here for the Ashe, especially not having any ultimate. So she has no kind of consistent form to stop the Irelia when she goes in on her. So she definitely has to respect this quite a bit. As we can see, just like that, the Irelia goes on the Ashe.
As Hu will go ahead and get taken out there, and another tragedy for Hu in the top lane. I think that's been the story of his time in the top lane for all of this game, just tragedy after tragedy. As Irelia is just going to push in that top tower, and with no one there to back him, Olaf in the bot lane. It looks like Rave will cast the ultimate, but Olaf is here, and it does nothing more than just stop Rave from killing the Lux. That's going to be a nice little play for Always Bot if they're going to be able to stack this gold lead and make it balloon even faster.
Yeah, and, you know, surprisingly enough, even though, you know, there was a bunch of skirmishes in the bot lane, the Samira still has 0 kills. We can see actually the Gallia going in here.
Yep, as the cast goes wide, but we can see Zin's out here on top of the Samira. Samira pops the heal, pops the ultimate, is not able to get away. The Crescent Guard will make sure that Gragas is pushed away. Kawhi able to live with just a sliver of HP. But this surely means that ABD want to potentially look for this tower. Looks like the members of ABD are backing. Ezreal decides against it, wants to push for this tower. But with Lux here, we could potentially see a nice little trade kill setup. We'll have to see what they opt to go for. Looks like both parties will just kind of respectfully leave each other alone, and Gragas will be able to pick up the pit and the farm that is there, as Rave will spam the mastery now. A little bit of an interesting play. We'll have to see. Maybe he's just checking for his ult cooldown. As I think both of these players understand that the game may be a little bit out of their hands at this point. ABD sitting 5k gold up, and with a dragon to their name, we'll have to see how they're going to look to close this one out.
Yeah, you know, JJT has found a little bit, some skirmishes, you know, some kills. We can see the kills isn't too far apart, but the gold difference is massive from these kind of tower plates that they've taken. So it's going to be quite hard. Most of the damage on this team right now is on the Lux, who is down, you know, considerable amount of CS here. And obviously the top lane is just kind of non-existent, and Hu looking like he's gonna get caught out once again. It looks like he's gonna be safe actually.
Oh, the old flash from Irelia. Not sure if that was even needed. It's gonna BM on him a little bit, and it looks like he will go ahead and get taken out. Just a nice little overstep there from Hu is gonna mean his demise. But fortunately enough for JJT, there are no objectives on the map for them to take, but Samira might be able to something that they want to take, as Kawaii is going to go in. We'll stun up the Samira from her ultimate. She's not going to be able to finish it. And now with no abilities left, surely Dooley should be able to pick this up as he is just autoing her to death. The Gragas is here to potentially look to make a play happen. And there's a nice little return. Gragas with the flash body slam is going to take out Kawaii Star and a nice little 1-for-0 for JJT.
What is this champion? Staying alive there with the shield bow, and just not dying. Obviously, we saw a bunch of she was dodging all the skill shots there quite well, or most of them. Another fight breaking out in the mid lane, the Olaf ultimate and the Mundo going one-on-one.
Mundo just has so much healing, and Olaf is not able to do enough damage as he looks to make his stand. Both flashes coming out from ABD. It's the Ashe with the TP. She lands the enchanted crystal arrow. Is she going to be able to kill Rave? She is going to do so. The red smite comes out. Poseidon is inside. He looks like he wants to take out this Ashe. She is going to get taken out from the red buff. And there's a nice little 2-for-2 for JJT. You take what you can take with the shutdown going their way as well. There's a nice little gold play for them with the dragon spawning in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good an Ashe TP is, but she went for it, and it doesn't look like it was kind of fairly even fight, but at the same time, they really was able to push top and take half of the top inhib tower. So perhaps overall in the favor of always bought diff.
Yeah, as now they have the pressure on the top side, it is going to make someone answer that wave in the top lane. But with the dragon spawning just now, we can see the members of JJT Tech are coming down. They want to contest this, but with the gold being as different as it is, the 5k gold difference in favor of ABD, they're almost surely going to be able to throw their wallets at them. As you see some, vision coin going forward. Galio will get stunned up. The ultimate comes out. What a bit of an interesting choice to try and burst. Galio will be forced to flash. But with no Lux ultimate now, you are missing a lot of damage on JJT Tech's side. They are going to go ahead and look to potentially start up this dragon. It looks like they will decide against it as Ashe is just taking the blue buff. Says, this is mine now. As the members of JJT Tech are looking to get some nice poke damage out. They are able to do so. Nothing too crazy happening yet, but Irelia on the flank. We could potentially see a huge flank coming out. It's directed camera, please. Zinzao is not going to be able to land. The wind becomes lightning. Samira is going to get cordoned off by this Irelia, not able to do her damage as the members of JJT just get split up and dismantled by ABD. Nice 3-for-0 so far. Could potentially see the 4-for-0. Takora comes for the W. Is not going to be able to do so. The Ignite comes out. She wants to kill. The Lux ultimate is already back up. What is that champion? As Rave is here, he wants this Lux kill. It will not be accepting no for an answer. Irelia walked into the binding from the Lux. So sad as Rave is going to get taken out. And there's a nice little 2 trade kills picked up for ABD. But they were able to pick up the dragon. And were able to pick up 5 members of JJT as well.
What these teams like to have their clown fiestas at the dragon. It seems the first game and now in the second game. The Lux able to pick up 2 kills from a little bit of an extended kind of chase there. So she has, she has like a lot of gold and is doing kind of most of the damage. But meanwhile, the Ashe is 1-6 in the top lane. So right now they really have to play around the Lux. I think in that fight, the Lux was down until the very end. You mentioned it using it on the Galio, which is an interesting decision. Then after that, they were just kind of split apart, and the Irelia was in the backline and able to kind of go in and assassinate their carry.
Yeah, and Irelia sitting at an important 2-item power spec with the Gore Drinker and the Blade of the Rune King is going to be very nice for her, and we'll have to see what she's going to be able to do inside of these fights, as most of the members of JJT Tech are kind of stunted here on 1 item or 1 item and a half, or in the case of Ashe here, not even 1 item, as she's just so starved away from this game, sitting at a huge CS deficit and a KP deficit. Is a little bit unfortunate for her. We'll have to see if she is just going to go for the, the kind of ult bot build. We'll have to see what she goes for, as the members of JJT here want to potentially siege mid lane. It looks like ABD are not really in a position to defend, but with the tower being so high HP, they shouldn't have too much to worry about.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the Ashe did sell her Vamp Scepter. It looks like she was going for that old Ashe build, or that kind of new Ashe build, sorry, with the Immortal Shield Bow going into the Wit's End, but looks like she's changed her mind now and is going into the Kraken. Interesting kind of choice there to sell the Vamp Scepter. But she, like you mentioned, she has a considerable amount of gold behind here of Rave.
Yeah, and we can see, the members of JJT Tech having the upper hand currently on ABD in the mid lane here. ABD want to play these side lanes because of that. They're not going to be able to protect this siege, but ABD are going to be able to push these sideways. You can see both of them pushing in favor of ABD. And we'll have to see if Irelia is going to be able to take that tower in the bottom lane, and if Rave is going to be able to take that inhib tower in the top lane, as the recall starts to get channeled out from JJT Tech, and they look like they want to respond.
Yeah, it looks like the timing was a bit off there on that play. They took the mid tower, which is a pretty big kind of take there for JJT Tech out of, definitely take that trade any day of the week. This might be a little too much here. The Olaf having to use his ult to run away. He should be able to get away
Ooh.
here.
Dilly, True Shot Barrage is going to take him out. Does land on top of him, but he lives with just a sliver of HP. But with Olaf Chunk, they could potentially look to start up the Baron. As Poseidon is here, Dilly is here. They look like they want to do this, as Aurelia is putting pressure in the bot lane. Rave is just here in the mid lane, just stopping Poseidon, or not, excuse me, Poseidon and Olaf from backing. This is almost surely going to mean the Baron in favor of ABD. But Jujutsu Tech should have the read on this, and they need to get something back. And it looks like, no, they don't have the read on this, as they're not even going to try and punish Aurelia. As, excuse me, I might have spoke too soon, but no. It looks like ABD will be able to pick up this Baron for no cost at all. Oh, okay, the Lux ultimate almost took it. But a nice little smite as Toker here stepping way too far forward. Not really sure what he was doing. Maybe thought they were backing. But that is going to mean that he is going to go down. And with Aurelia in a 1v2 in the bot lane, she could potentially see to take her out. She's going to flash forward. Is going to be able to absolutely kill the Samira. As Life's doing for so much, Olaf is going to shut her down. But the rest of the members of ABD are going to push in this mid lane.
Yeah, we can see, a little bit, once again, a little bit of a clown fiesta fight. The Lux is most of this damage on this team, and looks like Always Bot Diff is trying to, definitely get her down. Meanwhile, the Samira, while she did have a strong laning phase, it hasn't been able to pick up any kills. So she isn't quite as strong as she'd like to be at this stage in the game.
Yeah, and she did end up going for the serrated Dirk against a little bit more of the tanky competition from Always Bot Diff. I think there's a current argument going on against ADCs where if you are playing against a little bit more of a tankier team where they have champions like Dr. Mundo and Galio, there's a lot of arguments to be made for the Lord Dominix, but it looks like she is opting to go for the Collector second item instead, and we'll have to see if that is going to work out for her. It certainly does provide a lot of damage on top of these squishier champions, but speaking of squishy, two members of Jujutsu Tech are just caught out and deleted. Goodbye Ash, goodbye Gragas, as now with the dragon spawning in 30 seconds, this means that they could be able to get this, and they almost certainly will. As Dilly here is going to get stunned up, the ultimate comes out, he is forced to use the heal and flash away. But Rave here is going forward, casts the ultimate. It looks like they can't decide if they want in or out, and it is in. They are going to use the Crescent Guard to push members away. Olaf is the sole remaining member who has a decent amount of HP, and Lux here is going to stun up too, but the damage is not there. The Sterix is going to be proc from Poseidon, he is going to be forced to flash away. Rave, the last of his ultimate, is going to heal up the remainder of his HP, and there's a nice little 3-for-0 in favor of ABD.
Yeah, confusing decision there from their top lane and their support to walk down, to Dragon with no, or kind of bot river with no vision. And they end up easily getting picked here by Kawaii Star. And now they're looking to, it looks like they just decided they're going to take the Dragon probably back and then reset and then siege again. But this, this isn't looking really good. They the side of Jujutsu Tech doesn't really have that much wave clear minus the Lux. And the Ashe being just so far behind, I'm sure she's going to be struggling to even kill the minions at this point. So we'll see how they can attempt to defend this. The dragons are already stacking, and being an Infernal Soul, this is definitely not looking very, very good for them right now.
Yeah, not even mentioning the 11k gold lead in favor of ABD. This is sort of an insurmountable lead, as Ashe here may be trying to go for Brybert, maybe the best player in KDL's world record of the most deaths in a KDL game. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to match it. As the members of ABD here, like you said, recalled, they came back, they spent their gold, they've got a nice little wallet on top of them, so much gold, they could potentially just force a fight wherever they want. And it looks like they're going to play it a little bit more cautiously, try not to be too crazy, as Dilly here gets caught out, is going to just get absolutely deleted, and now that's a nice pickup for Jujutsu Tech, but what are they going to do with it? As Sin's out here will go in, uses the Crescent Guard to separate the team, and the members of Jujutsu Tech are just getting systematically obliterated, as Gragas is forced to use a stopwatch, but is almost certainly going to go down. As Rave here gets stunned up, but he doesn't seem to care too much, as he's just going to heal it all back up, and now the members of ABD are pushing on top of this mid inhibitor tower.
Yeah, he's taking no damage right now from the tower, like barely any damage from the tower and all the auto attacks right now. This window is a fiend.
Oh no, as Irelia is just going to do nice damage on top of Hu, and that is going to take him out. There's going to be 8 deaths. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to go for more, as the members of ABD here want to take this inhibitor. It looks like they're going to go ahead and go and back off, take the enemy jungler. Or, excuse me, I am going to eat my own words, as they're going to push into this top lane and look to take this top tier 1 as well, potentially. The members of Jujutsu Tech should be smart enough to realize this and defend against it, and we'll have to see what they're going to do.
Yeah, obviously they know that the Ezreal and the rest of the team is still arriving there. So they should definitely respect that. With the Lux having a decent amount of poke and wave clear, means that it isn't that easy of a kind of siege for the side of Always Bot Diff. They want to make sure that their carries don't get caught, as we saw in that last fight. The Ezreal got deleted, and early on from that fight. So
Yeah,
they're
I
gonna have to
think
watch out for that.
as someone else had been casting as the Lux ultimate comes out. Unfortunately, the Crescent Guard is going to block a lot of the damage as Samira wants in. She just gets absolutely deleted. The Galley ultimate is going to do some shielding on top of Poseidon, but he's going to get taken out as well in a 1-for-1. I think that favors JJT. They did take a lot of damage, but if the game does go longer, that gold is going to help them get back in. But Irelia is knocking on the top lane, and they look like they want to potentially take this inhibitor, as she is going to take the tower. And we'll have to see if JJT want to go with this inhibitor, as we are looking at Dewey clearing the ward instead of Irelia hitting the inhibitor. Please, directed camera one time. As they are going to go ahead and just take it away, it looks like. We'll have to see if JJT are going to be able to look for the return and engage. Irelia lands her stun on top of Who, but not able to get anything out of it. And it looks like JJT are just content with taking this wave and making sure they're not going to get any more.
Yeah, not much they could do there with the Ash ult down, and not much CC on their side. You see a little bit of chat coming out, interesting chats coming out there. But once again, they're looking to just kind of split them off and siege. The top lane has lost its inhib. Now they're just gonna kind of push mid, push bot, and force Jujutsu Tech to have to defend their base at a certain point. I'm not sure what the Gragas is doing entirely.
Yeah,
at the moment.
It's a little bit interesting, but like you said, with the super minions coming in the top and the mid lane, JJT have a really hard problem of trying to make something happen and trying to be able to play the game with that handicap available to them. So it will be a little bit interesting to see what they're going to try and do, as even with that gold pickup on the Zinzalco, they are still 12k gold behind, and we'll have to see if ABD are going to throw their wallets at the opposing team, as the Mundo passive will be procced and taken off, but it will be back up in around 10 seconds. That's okay, they're going to continue to go forward. Rave is negligent, or excuse me, not negligent, doesn't want to pop the ultimate. And they're going to go ahead and go forward. The True Shot Barrage lands on 3. Huge ultimate. Tok'ra is able to pick up Kawaii Star, but the members of JJT here doing their best to kite back, trying to stop the engage. Looks like the Lux ultimate will come out to try and clear the wave, will clear a portion of it. But with a super minion wave coming in the top lane as well, it's looking pretty disastrous for ABD. As Rave there, not able to hit the infected bone cells on top of Who having some nice little fancy feet, but unfortunately for him, he does have 8 deaths, so it is a little bit tragic. As we'll have to see if this fight does go longer. Looks like they want to bring in that bot wave and push it into the inhibitor tower and potentially take the inhibitor as the Lux bending does land. Looks like they can't decide if they want in or out. ABD here just doing their best to poke over the wall, but without a sizable wave, it's going to be very hard for them to try and take this inhibitor tower. But knocking in the top wave, we see the super minions starting to stack up at the Nexus towers, and not all 5 members of JGT are here. ABD can look to take this fight.
In fact, their strongest member is the one that's clearing the wave. So if ABD wanted, they could just kind of engage here and end the game. The Lux is the only one doing damage. It's unfortunate for them that they were so far behind, because they could have, had a chance if the rest of the team just hadn't gotten stomped like this. The 0-6 in the bot lane, the 2-8 in the top lane. Pretty wide CS gaps here. Looks like Always Bot Diff is just going to take the safe path, take the Dragon Soul here. Maybe the Baron, and then end the game that way.
Yeah, they definitely could look to do the Baron if they want to be completely safe. Just get the Baron, get more gold inside of your wallet, and be able to swap the enemy team with it. And it looks like they will go ahead and do that, as all 5 members are walking towards this Baron. And this is, just a very safe, comforting play for ABD. They don't want to throw the game in any particular fashion. They just want to clean this game out very cleanly. And we'll have to see, after this game, as the masteries are spammed, maybe detecting that it might be warded, as they're going to go ahead and get spotted out. But with only Gragas there, it looks like they're not going to be able to do so. The smite comes out from Poseidon, able to land it. The flash comes out from the Aurelia, but the blast doesn't mean that Gragas does get away. A little bit overzealous there, but it's not going to cost her too much, as now all 5 members of ABD have the Baron, are resetting, and have their eyes on JJT Tech's Nexus.
Yeah, this Lux has kind of stalled this game out a bit more than I expected. But this kind of should be it here. They're going to push the bot in the mid, and then just kind of end the game. Looks like they're just going to be taking some of their buffs, clearing some of their camps before they decide to do it. Stalling the game out a bit. Rave is backing once again, potentially having his item complete.
Yep.
Yeah, having the Randuin's Omen complete there.
Is a nice little pickup for him against this mostly AD composition coming out of Jujutsu Tech, but with you being 12k gold ahead, I don't think anyone is particularly worried about them being able to burst you. And with these 4-item power spike, how did Samira get here? What is happening? She just walks past the Zinzao in the bush, and Zinzao is none the wiser, as now the Baron empowered waves are starting to come into the Nexus. The top inhibitor is gone, the mid inhibitor is open, and we can see the bot inhibitor is looking like it's about to be cracked open, as Dilly and Poseidon here are looking like they want to take this tower. the members of JGT don't really have the wave clear to kind of stop this, and they are split. They can't really defend on all three fronts, and because of that, they're going to lose this bot inhib in time. As we will see Gragas go in, they're going to do a little bit of damage. Poseidon will go in. The Crescent Guard blocks a lot of damage. He's going to prop the Sterix with the Galio shield as well. He's going to save him as Samira goes down. And now we're going to see the rest of JJT Tech go down as Dewey gets 2. Could look to get 3. Kawhi will pick up that kill. And it's now just Olaf here trying to make a hero play, save the game. And that's a nice clean ace for ABD and a nice clean 2-0 victory for them to continue on into the playoffs.
Yeah, very, very clean game from them. Obviously early on, Jesus Tech were able to get some kills and skirmishes, but it didn't really mean much because they weren't able to get any plates. They weren't able to deny any waves. And it was relatively a clean game. ABD decided to take the safe approach and decide to take their objectives, decide to take their backs properly, and then slowly end out the game. And Jesus Tech couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, and it's truly a tragedy for Jiu-Jitsu Tech. They were talking a lot of smack before the playoffs, saying they would easily beat ABD. They would just 2-0 them without a sweat on their mind. And it's a little bit tragic for them, as I do believe because of the rebroadcast, we don't really have many members available from Jiu-Jitsu Tech. Let me see if I can find the members from ABD. I think a couple wanted to be interviewed after this game.
Yeah,
And we'll
some of
have
them are
to
hopping
see.
right there into
Yep,
the. Yeah.
we got one. I'll wait for the other one. As we're going to go ahead and pull Poseidon in here, and at the same time, we're going to start the MVP poll as well. As now we have, we got Poseidon, Rave, and Dewey. You guys had, just so excited after that game. You guys just played it. It's so crazy. Who was able to play and cast at the same time?
I smacked the caster and the player at the same
Oh
time.
shit!
They both have the same name.
Oh shit!
As we did have a nice performance coming out of you guys, and there was a lot of scrappiness inside of this game. You guys were able to come out confidently ahead in both of these games, though. Did you guys expect that it would come out to this kind of 2-0 victory, or did you think there was potential for you losing a game?
If we knew as long as we banned who's Thresh, we couldn't lose.
We didn't ban that though.
You did the second game.
Second game.
We did, yeah.
Oh, did we? Oh.
I appreciate the respect coming in.
Yeah.
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 So we'll go into
Sounded
question
like
about the first game here. We got the first game's draft on the screen here. So what was I guess it's the second game's
That's
draft.
the second game's
I guess-
draft. Yeah.
we can ask about the second game. So when you saw this draft on the side of Jiu-Jitsu Tech, the Olaf, the Samira, the Lux, what were you kind of thinking? These are a little bit kind of strange picks. We haven't seen them play it, and some of these are not exactly they don't really exactly synergize well with each other.
Oh, Jujutsu Text draft? I
Yeah.
mean, it was like it's weird to have Lulu and oh, we're talking about the second game.
The second game.
Second
We're
game,
talking
yeah.
about the second game. I mean, I knew once you picked Ash that it was an Ash top. Aaron didn't believe me, but once we loaded into game, we knew. But I mean, the Lux was really a really good pick. Really slowed us down for a while, but it's tough when you got an ADC top and then an ADC bot, and the ADC top just loses lane.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course.
This is so
It's
tragic.
ADC tops are a real coin flip, where like if you win lane, you're gonna be useful, but if you lose lane, then you like do absolutely nothing for the rest of the game. It's kind of what happened.
Of course. Now, obviously, in the first game, we had a bit more of a normal game, pretty standard picks coming out. But that one, you guys played pretty clean as well. There was a little bit of, early game, it was fairly close. There was, that TP fight in the bot lane, which didn't go your way. But after that, you had a complete control. So how do you guys feel about that game?
I'll let someone else talk about it.
It was fine. Blind picking the Kled into Camille isn't fun, so I just, kept going bot to get them ahead, because that's really all you could do in that lane for the most part. Because, Cho'Gathar on a 2-second cooldown is really fun to play against.
Yep, and that is, I think we saw a little bit of that Cho'Gathar in action in that first game. And, you guys did end up winning this game, so that is going to push you forward into the playoffs, into the semifinals against the likes of Akatsuki. And, you guys did end up losing to them in the round robin. Do you think you're going to be able to rectify that coming into these best of 3?
Absolutely.
Of course. I mean, I've said this whole season, we have the better jungler.
the
So,
best
jungler
jungler in the
wins.
KDL.
best jungler in the
Absolutely.
KDL, we can't lose.
And the best support. You know.
And the
Oh,
best
okay.
support.
And the
True,
best
true,
support,
true,
yep.
true. Deeper champion pool than the other support.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay. As
And we
you
definitely
know,
have a deeper champion pool mid.
oh, that's true. I will not deny that. As you know, you guys do look like you're in high spirits coming out of this game, and we do, wish you guys well going into that Akatsuki game. And I gotta congratulate you, Poseidon. It looks like you were voted the MVP of the series. I gotta say, as the best jungler in the KDO, is there anything that's gonna put you down?
No. As long as you build Red Smite on Zin, anything is possible.
All right. Well, I mean, that's going to wrap it up for today. We had a nice little broadcast. We'll go ahead and push you guys out of here. Thank you guys for coming for the interview. And
Hey, thanks.
get out of here. Rave, you smell.
Yeah.
As we will be going ahead and finishing up the broadcast, now we're going to be going ahead and seeing the semifinals. As you can see on the screen, we have GME versus Worldlanders. GME being the undefeated team so far, not dropping a game just yet. We'll have to see if the Worldlanders are going to be able to take them down. And then the Akatsuki versus ABD. These guys have some rivalries from this season and the last one. We'll have to see what it's going to turn out to be in this best of 3. The games are not scheduled just yet, but we'll be going ahead and scheduling them going forward. So if you want to see when they're going to pop up, go ahead and join the Discord. We'll have the matches posted when they are scheduled. And we'll see you guys when that happens.